Today we're gonna make the most amazing lasagna. I've been making a version of this since college and it is mind-blowingly delicious. It's also pretty easy to pull together. And I'm gonna show you how I add flavor in each layer at every step, and that way you get this fantastic result at the end. The first step is we're gonna boil our noodles. I've already got my water that's come to a boil. I salted it. You wanna generously salt your water. I'm gonna put my strainer in the sink, and that way when they're done, I can take them out, I can pour it directly in here, and I can stop the cooking process. Done. Okay, so really big step there. So I've got my noodles. You can use flat noodles, you can use fresh noodles if you'd like. Obviously if you're using fresh, do not cook them. I'm gonna use the wavy edge ones because that's what we have in our grocery store. So I'm gonna take the lid off that. It is a rolling boil over here. Rolling. And then I'm gonna pop these in, okay? Just get them in there. Make sure they're in the water, right? You want them in the water. We're just gonna cook. We're gonna cook them until al dente, which obviously just means, so it has like a little bite to it. It's not fully cooked because obviously we're gonna cook them in the oven as well. So the next things we wanna make sure we have all ready, because this is a really easy dish. It's just about the layers, right? So I've got my baking dish here. You can use a regular 9x11, 9x13, whatever you have, that's what you should use. I'm gonna set it aside though. And the next thing we're gonna do is cook our meat. So I've got a mixture here. I've got ground beef and also ground pork and a bit of ground sweet Italian sausage. You could use spicy, you could omit it completely, you could just use sirloin. This is whatever you want to use here. So I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm going to brown all of this meat in this pot. Yep. So while that happens, we'll just go ahead and put our pasta sauce in a bowl. I'm going to put all the meat with the pasta sauce. I'm not going to cook it. This is obviously cold. You know, you could defrost it from your freezer. Whatever you have on hand, that's what you should use. You can pop open a can. This is actually my red wine pasta sauce, which is my favorite. And I make it in large batches and then put it in the freezer just for these occasions, right? Or you could also use my quick 15-minute pasta sauce if you haven't, you know, prepped ahead, if you will. So we're gonna use about 1.5 quarts of pasta sauce. I'm just gonna get that in here. Okay, so my meat is almost done, my noodles are almost done, and it's been like a hot 5 minutes. So, all right. Everyone's done, which is exciting. So I'm gonna set that aside because that can sit right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab my noodles and I'm gonna drain them in the sink. Be back. I'm gonna grab my little bit of olive oil. I'm just gonna pour it over the top, and then I'm gonna toss it kind of with the tongs that I was using earlier. Right? This is optional, but I find that it makes the layering process a lot easier. And then we've got our meat here, which is done browning, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my sauce. My meat was not particularly fatty, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pour all of it in here. If you wanted to drain your meat first, you could totally do that. Okay, so just go ahead and stir it up. Distribute your, I like a meaty pasta sauce, okay? This is not like a, you know, where's the meat? No. It's not that kind of pasta sauce. Not that kind of lasagna in my kitchen, okay? All right, so we've got our pasta sauce. Boom, she's ready. She is right there. We're gonna just prep the herbs that are gonna go into our ricotta. Get your basil. And, you know, kind of pick off the leaves. We are going to chiffonade our basil, and then we're going to slice it. So all you're gonna do is put all the leaves kind of together, right? Okay. Just layer them up. There's no particular great way to do this. I like to put the big ones obviously on the outside, and then I shove a bunch of tiny random ones inside if there's like some left over, right? So now we've got our little cups, our little boats of layered basil, and we are going to roll them. Yes, some people will be better at this than others. You know who you are. But just give them a roll, a nice tight roll, okay? The easier, that will make them easier to cut. And then we're going to slice. Now, if your knife is dull, it's gonna bruise them, okay? But my knife is dull. Just gonna give you a fun fact here, okay? But it doesn't matter because it's going where? In the ricotta, in the lasagna. No stress, remember, okay? So we're gonna repeat with all of our basil. And then I'm gonna turn them away because we don't want like long strips. Nobody wants like a noodle of basil, right? So we're gonna turn them the other direction, and then we're gonna give them like a little, basically a chop the other way, just to get kind of a more fine chop. All right, I'm gonna do about, let's see, I think a tablespoon of dried oregano. I'm gonna do half a tablespoon of dried oregano. It's like 1.5 teaspoons. And then I'm gonna mix it up. You could put pepper in this, you could put any other herbs, you could just like put Mrs. Dash in there, whatever you wanna do. That's what you should do. Okay, and now we are ready to assemble. Yes. We've got our noodles and our Parmesan and our mozzarella, which is partially shredded and partially just pulled apart because, again, my grocery store. That's what they had. I'm gonna put just a little bit of pasta sauce in the bottom, okay? This is mainly to keep the noodles from sticking to the bottom of the dish. There's no other purpose to this, and as long as it's kind of like, you know, there's like a thin layer down there. I'm trying not to get the meat, but I mean, we made a meaty sauce. What do you want? All right. This is the best part about lasagna, no? Is the layering. Okay, so we've got our noodles. Yeah, don't you love how they like fit perfectly in here? It's like somebody thought about that. You know, you can go ahead and if your pan is a little like less wide, you can overlap, right? Okay, so now we've got our first layer of nudes, and then we're gonna dollop our cheese. I like to go ahead and just place it in various spots, right? And then we're gonna spread it out. Is this graceful? No. There's literally nothing graceful about spreading ricotta on lasagna noodles, okay? The key is that you want to just make sure you get it on there. And then pasta sauce. This is a meaty sauce, right? So it's going to be a little bit like, it's going to take up a little bit more space, if you will, than like a thin sauce. But I like, you know, I like a thick, meaty sauce, like pasta. Like this is how I do. So, you know, you do you. Or however your grandmother taught you. I am not Italian, so this is just what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna grab a generous amount of mozzarella. Yeah. And then we're gonna put Parmesan on it because it needed more cheese. Okay, and then we start again. Noodles. Now how many layers you get is obviously gonna be dependent on how deep your pan is. This pan is delightfully deep. So I'm really hoping for 4 layers here, okay? Really hoping for 4. I guess I only needed like 12 noodles, but I'm gonna make a second one for my freezer. I mean, you could also make it for a friend, but I'm not that kind. Some people like don't pre-cook their noodles at all, but I find that kind of stressful because then I have to like be very specific about the amount of water that's still in my sauce and how liquidy it is, and like, I don't know, that's too much stress for this dish, if you ask my opinion, which you did. So good, guys, so good. You know what, guys? I think we might get 5. Yeah, first time obviously baking in this dish, and I'm pretty stoked about this. Compress it a little bit. Maybe we'll get 5. I can press. I didn't budget for 5 layers, okay? I budgeted for 4 layers. So we're gonna have to stretch. You know I'm gonna put more on top when I serve it, so just go all in, right? Just whoosh, all in. All right. Okay, so I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Convection can be regular, doesn't matter. Don't stress about it, just preheat it. And then I am actually going to cover this because it's way thicker than I thought she was going to be. If you have, you know, you could put wax paper underneath your aluminum foil if you want. I don't particularly enjoy the flavor of aluminum foil, so that's always a good call. You could also use parchment. But I am going to spray my aluminum foil, and that way it won't take all of the cheese with it when we take it off, right? So just spray your aluminum foil. I know, it's weird, but trust me. I also like to try and maybe not, you know, not press it on the cheese, just kind of cover, but like create like a little pocket in there. Okay, and now our lasagna is ready to go in the oven. So I'm gonna pop this in. We're gonna bake. It's gonna bake like 30. She's fat, so it's probably gonna take like 45 minutes. But I'll check in on it. Really, the most important thing is that it's bubbling all throughout. The noodles have had a chance to finish cooking. The cheese is melty and oof, right? So I'm gonna get her in there. And we'll check back in like 30 minutes. Oh my gosh, so heavy. Okay, it has been about 45 minutes and I can hear it bubbling. I checked it after 30 and I just wanted it to be a little bit more melty. Oh! Sorry, that was a very intense noise that I just made there. But you can see that our little spray situation worked, and I'm just gonna pop it back in there and let it kind of brown on the top and really just get extra melty, right? So back in she goes. It's gonna take like, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. You know, you can cook it the whole time without the top on, but sometimes I find that it might, you know, brown and whatever, and that would be sad, so. Okay. Yes. And dinner is served. Yes. Oh, this lasagna looks amazing. It smells fabulous. My whole place smells like Italian heaven. You see how it's bubbling around the edges? The cheese is completely melty. Oh my goodness gracious. We have like 35 layers of happiness in there. Yes. It's time to try. Yes. I am so excited about this. It has been so long since I had lasagna and I'm so excited. All right, so, I mean, I've let it cool like a hot second, so we're gonna need to tread carefully here because otherwise I'm gonna burn my mouth. But, okay, oh yes, just go ahead and cut me a nice big slice. No tiny slices here. Nope. Like trying not to make a crazy mess. Oh my goodness gracious. Do you see this? Oh, do you see all of the layers that are happening here? Oh my goodness. Oh dear. There's a cheese bowl for you. Oh dear. Oh my gosh. I can see the ricotta is like everywhere. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this, guys. I'm so excited. It's piping hot, so. Piping hot. You gotta get all the things, you know? Make sure you get everything. Burn my mouth. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Obviously all of the cheese and the ricotta and all the meat sauce, and it's rich and decadent, and the flavor, the extra flavor and the ricotta like really comes through and it kind of rounds out the whole dish. Oh my goodness. I'm in trouble now.